I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are excited about the upcoming Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises. And I am too. I've been ecstatic ever since they released the cast of characters to be involved in this movie. Not even seeing the trailer. No, not even seeing any viral marketing campaigns, released surrounding this movie. No, just from the cast of characters alone, that has got me excited. Because the main villain that they're using for this movie is my favorite villain in the Batman universe. And that villain is Bane. Oops, Bane. And to me, I don't know, this is my personal opinion, I find that he's a better antagonist to Batman than he is with the Joker. And I only say this because of the storyline that involves Bane and Batman. Don't get me wrong, Joker is a great villain. But because there are so many interpretations of Joker, so many, one-shots or different story arcs that surround the Joker, so many of his character, change throughout different medias, you don't really get a crisp, clear definition of the Joker. On one hand, he's insane, he's crazy, he's unpredictable. In another interpretation of him, he's so calculating, he's so meticulous, so that you really don't get a pure sense of who he is. But with Bane, because there's so little exposure to him, because he's not really represented in any of the Batman media that well, Batman and Robin for one, Batman in the animated series, they only had one episode on him. So really, you only have this one clear definition, which is through the Vengeance of Bane one-shots, part 1 and part 2, and the Nightfall story arc that you see in, the Batman Detective comics. And the reason why he's such a great antagonist to Batman is really Batman kind of meets his match with Bane through these story arcs. Because, well, in the Batman and Robin movie with, Joel Schumacher and George Clooney, you see him as this, dumb, big, muscular brute with really no intelligence. But Bane, he's probably Batman's most intelligent villain. Here's the backstory. Bane's father commits a crime, but the thing is, he dies before he can serve the punishment. So Bane has to serve it for his father. So he's basically paying the sins of his father. But the thing is, he's not born yet. His mother has him in her womb, and she gives birth to him in a prison. So right from the get-go, Bane is living in a prison, serving for a crime that he didn't even commit. He grows up, and he only has one friend, and that is his teddy bear. As you can see, maybe if I can focus it. Yeah, that's his teddy bear right here. And that's his only friend in the prison. And he goes around, living with, and you know what, this isn't like a minimum security prison. No, this is like a maximum security facility where he's living with murderers and rapists and, But yeah, he lives a pretty tough life, and everyone treats him like crap. Even a prisoner throws him overboard. He falls pretty much 3 stories down, and he goes into a coma. And this page pretty much is where he dreams of his teddy bear running away from him. His teddy bear is named Osito. It's a Spanish for a little bear. And he goes around, and in this dream, he meets this ghost entity, talking to him, and tell him that he's destined for greatness. But the thing is, he also exploits his fear. This entity, this ghost, exploits his fear in the dream, and this fear is in the shape of, guess, a bat. But the thing is, when he wakes up, he's no longer the same person. No, he's got this dark side to him, and basically what he does next is he pulls out a knife and he goes to the guy who threw him overboard. And remember, this is just a kid, He's like 6 years old, I think. And he goes up to the guy who threw him over, who's like probably, I don't know, 30 or 40. So, size matters here, right? And you wouldn't think a kid would confront a guy of this size. But anyway, he does, and he kills him. And because he kills somebody in prison, what the guards do is they throw him in the hole. I know you've probably heard it in like prison terms. It's a solitary confinement, and Bane is left alone in the dark. Okay, he gets thrown in there when he's, and he's only 6 years old. Remember, he's just a kid, and he ends up living with the rats. He lives with a bunch of rats and a bunch of crabs. Yeah, a bunch of rats and a bunch of crabs. Oh, and there are these floods that occur, pretty much every day, because the prison was set on like an island, and there are these high tides and low tides. So he'd almost drown almost every day. That's how he lived life in this hole. And he wasn't thrown in there for like a couple days. No, he was thrown in the hole when he was 6, and he comes out when he's 16. 10 years in that prison, in that hole, all by himself in the dark, living with rats and crabs and almost drowning every day. Bane comes out tough, with this tough mentality, and that's what solitary confinement will do to you. But here's where it gets interesting. When Bane comes out, not only is he physically tough, he starts to get smarter. What he does is he reads books every day. He trains, he meditates, he is so disciplined that he pretty much becomes the ultimate warrior. Here he is training, here he is meditating, and here he is reading a book where he gets a whole bunch of books, and this is where he becomes, a fighter. As you can see, he's fighting other prisoners in the ring, in prison. This is his training ground, If there was any equivalent, it'd probably be like, Spartans training for warfare. And he becomes the ultimate warrior, an ultimate fighter. Not only is he physically tough, he's mentally smart and tactically advantageous. And this whole time, while he's in prison, his comrade, Bird, tells him of this city, Gotham City, how it's ruled by a bat. And this intrigues Bane. This makes him very compelled to go to Gotham and confront his worst fear. And the doctors, they are running this experiment with this serum called Venom. And it's supposed to enhance your physical abilities, everything, it's supposed to make you this like super soldier. But the thing is, they can't find any patients that can survive the experiment. Everyone keeps dying. So what the guards do is they recommend Bane to this experiment, and so Bane agrees to it, and he gets hooked up to all these machines. But the thing is, and he survives, of course he survives. But the thing is, after a while, he fakes his death. He stops his own heart and fakes his death. This is all according to his escape plan. So what they do is they wrap him up in a body bag and they throw him over. And remember, this prison is on an island, surrounded by shark-infested waters. So when he gets out, he's still in the bag, and he rips himself free. He rips a shark in half, and takes care of them, no problemo. What he does is he actually goes back up to the prison. He goes back up to the prison and he frees his comrades. So his comrades are free. They order a chopper and they go out. What they do is then they go to Gotham, of course, and they eventually set themselves up for a confrontation against Batman. This is pretty much where the one-shot ends. There's a bit more after that, but it's pretty much hyping up the confrontation between Bane and Batman. Now, what happens after this one-shot is we enter a 9-issue story arc called Nightfall in the Batman and Detective Comics series. So this is where it all starts. What Bane does is he goes out to Arkham Asylum. And if you guys don't know, Arkham Asylum is the prison where they hold all the villains. So the Joker, the Riddler, Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, pretty much every Batman villain you can name is in this prison. And what Bane does is, here You know, this is why I respect Bane so much. He is smart. He is smart. What he does is he breaks Arkham Asylum free, and he releases all the villains to, you know, scamper around Gotham City. Now, Batman, what he has to do is he has to go out and go catch them all. This is all according to Bane's plan. What Bane was actually planning was, as Batman catches these villains, he is tiring himself out. This is strenuous on his body, on his mind, on his health. So, as Batman is rounding up all these villains, Bane is just taking his time, meditating, training, you know, getting himself ready to fight Batman when he's at his weakest. So, Batman, he's finished up rounding up all these villains, and he has his final confrontation with Bane. Okay? Now, Bane catches him, like I've said before, Bane catches him at his weakest point. Batman is tired, he's exhausted. So what Bane does is, he lets the fight drag on to tire him out even more. And what ends up happening is, Bane manages to get Batman in some kind of lock, right? And what he does is, he lifts him over his head. And if I can find the right page, let's see. What he ends up doing is, here. Batman is tired and weak. Bane lifts him over his head. And here is where it gets absolutely ball-busting. Bane breaks Batman's back. Right here. Oh, you could just feel that action. Right on the cover. This is where it happens too. Right on the cover. The breaking of the Batman. You never knew it could happen. But it did. And, not only that, not just to put salt in the wound, just to beat the dead horse, you know. What he ends up doing is, he tosses him aside, and he goes to Gotham saying, "Look, here's your bat. Bruised and broken." How humiliating. So that's pretty much Bane, you know, in a nutshell. This is only halfway through the Nightfall story arc. This is issue 11 out of 19. So there's a lot more that happens after that, but that's pretty much, you know, the most the part I find, you know, most exhilarating. It's just that confrontation, everything that leads up to it, and that's why I like Bane so much. I respect him as an antagonist, as a villain, and that's why he's my favorite in all of the Batman mythos. So you can see why I'm excited for this film, The Dark Knight Rises, because ever since I saw Batman Begins, with this new interpretation, this Christopher Nolan interpretation of the Batman series, I knew that Bane could fit in his universe. I knew that Bane would work well in Christopher Nolan's campaign. And you know what? After seeing the trailer, I think it will work. It will work great. And you know what? Jonathan Nolan's a great writer. Christopher Nolan's a great director and writer. So I can see this really working really well. And I'm so excited that I think I've messed up a couple times throughout this video, you know, not knowing what to say, because I'm just so excited for Bane, for this movie. So yeah, hopefully you learned a lot about Bane. He's not really portrayed much in the media, you know, other than Batman and Robin. Terrible movie. Don't watch it if you haven't seen it, or, you know, if you have seen it, don't take that interpretation of Bane, because it does not do it any justice at all. And he was featured in one episode in Batman the Animated Series. Stupido. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to say. I'm excited. You know, Bane is my favorite villain. I think I've said that like 5 times already, but I am excited. I am excited about Bane. So yeah, if you want to join me on opening day, if you want to line up with me, you know, get the tickets, give me a call. See you later.